Now I'm only falling apart. Nothing I can say, it's a total eclipse of the heart. Good morning, friends. I actually got up kind of early this morning, about 9-ish, and then at about 9:30 they made an announcement that they were having like a morning show, and I thought about going to that, and then I was even thinking about going to breakfast, but I wasn't feeling at all hungry, so I actually laid back down and slept for another couple of hours. It is now about noon, and so I'm gonna go up to the pool deck, see what's happening up there. Weather seems to be really nice outside. It's been smooth sailing so far, which is interesting on such an old ship. You know, you think I'd feel the motion more, but so far I haven't, but it's been calm seas, so I have heard that this ship struggles a little bit in rougher waters, so we'll see if that happens. I'm also gonna grab some food as well, and we'll go from there. But anyway, I'll of course take you with me. We'll see what we see and do what we do, and we'll talk soon. So I made my way out of my room and into the lobby atrium, and they had a violin duo going on in there, so I lingered in there for a little bit to listen to that. And I got some more footage of the lobby because honestly it just like super impresses me, especially the glass dome at the top, which to me again is very reminiscent of Titanic. But then I made my way up to the pool deck and caught this picture of the funnel. That's obviously a signature feature of Carnival ships. And then I made my way over to Blue Iguana. I was actually planning to get some tacos, but the line for that was longer than the burrito line, so I just grabbed a burrito and found a spot to sit nearby, and I continued to people watch and get some footage of the pool deck and surrounding area, which given that it was a sea day, it was getting pretty busy, but being that the Carnival Elation has a good sized pool deck, it didn't seem overcrowded at all. And so from there I made my way over to the Blue Iguana Tequila Bar. That was my favorite of the pool deck bars because they served Dos Equis and, you know, different kinds of good margaritas and stuff, and I had the bartender make me a Dos Equis red beer, which is definitely a favorite of mine. It's basically the beer version of a Bloody Mary, so if you like beer and you like Bloody Marys, it might be worth it for you to try this one. Definitely can recommend. So I stayed out on the pool deck for a while, and this little round part of the Carnival Elation reminded me of the Queen Mary for some reason. I believe that's part of the kids club, and on other ships it's maybe like suites or something, but I feel like something about the fantasy class is that it pulls elements from like the classic cruise liner era compared to other Carnival ships, and definitely compared to modern day cruise ships. But from there I decided to explore the ship a little bit more, and I made my way down the outdoor side of the ship. That's another thing about the Carnival Elation that impressed me, is there's a lot of outdoor space, but I ultimately ended up inside, and there was the ship model of the Imagination, which is another fantasy class ship, so a sister ship that sadly no longer exists. But after a while of exploring, I made my way back down to my room. Alright y'all, so I'm back to the room for a bit. Thought I'd update you. I mentioned this a few times in this series, but I'll say it again. I'm on this ship because my grandfather invited me on a cruise over a decade ago, and I wasn't able to make it happen, and this was the ship that we were meant to have been on, and I've always regretted not experiencing that with him. Because, you know, he loved all things travel, trains and planes and ships and whatever. But anyway, we'll talk soon. I had some time to kill before dinner, so I made my way back out of my room and up the elevator to the Alchemy Bar on Deck 9. As I mentioned, the location of the Alchemy Bar was perfect in relation to where my assigned dining room was. There was literally a staircase in there that connected down to the dining room, only a few hundred feet from my table. And with great drinks and even better bartenders, that's definitely the best bar on the ship in my opinion. But yeah, so I had a couple of drinks up there and chatted with the people around me until it was time for me to go down to dinner.
Your hand reaching out, touching me, asking you.
After dinner, Trey and I met up with some of the people we had met at the LGBTQ meetup, and we all decided we wanted to go to the 80s music trivia because those Name That Tune events tend to be really fun. I was admittedly pretty turned at this point, and we were just living our best lives out there, dancing and singing along to the songs. I literally had the phone in my face the whole time, and I had to filter through so much footage. Thanks, Drunk Travis, for documenting this event so thoroughly, but I really only needed about a quarter of the footage. But anyway, Neil, the cruise director, and the Fun Squad members who were helping him with the event even dressed up, which really set the tone and theme for the activity. And I love that they did this event in the lobby atrium because there was a lot of space on multiple decks for all of us to just get really into it.
DJ Neil.
Purple rain, oh, I'm only falling apart. Nothing I can say, it's a total eclipse of the heart. One of the Fun Squad members, Eduardo, came over and he got really up close and personal with his dance moves, which was pretty crazy, but it also made it really fun to see them having fun with it. The multiple deck thing was great because Neil sort of made it kind of a competition between each deck, and us being on deck 7, which was the main deck, we definitely won. But although we did do well with the trivia, my team did not win. I wanted to ship on a stick, but it was still a blast either way. From there, we decided to go to the piano bar, which is not something I normally do, but we did have fun in there. There was a theater show that night, but for whatever reason, I didn't feel like going, so ultimately I ended up at Alchemy. That's where the best drinks are, and obviously at this point that's where the majority of my friends were at. I'm not sure why I was so turned at this point. I had actually had less drinks than I had the day before, but I guess since I got a little bit of a later start, that made a difference. But in addition to my Alchemy drinks, I was also drinking water. I want to shout out the LGBTQ group again because it was such a cool vibe, and especially Kevin and Pat. They're actually a Canadian couple who reached out to me before the cruise because they saw me in the Facebook group and recognized me from YouTube, and they were so much fun to hang out with, and they were there at Alchemy pretty much anytime I was there. And also Peter, my Fun Squad friend, was a really great and inclusive host for that event. And I think that's one of the best things about cruising is just meeting really cool people from all kinds of cool places. But anyway, at this point I had my last drink and I decided it was time for bed. Alright y'all, so I got a frog tonight. I'm like 99% sure that's a frog. But anyway, finally got my first chow animal, night 2. A frog. I left the room a little bit late this morning, so I wasn't sure if he was going to come back up in here. But he came in at least to make my bed and to give me a frog. And I also have a nightcap. I'm not actually sure what this is, but it's a drink that Andrea made me at Alchemy. It's very tasty. I definitely took advantage of the Cheers package tonight. But anyway, we have Nassau tomorrow. And I don't know if I'm going to get off or what, but, you know, it's Nassau, so we'll see how that goes. I had 11 out of 15 drinks tonight, so, but I'm definitely ready for bed. I want to thank you all for traveling with me. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all those fun things. We'll talk soon, and y'all have a good night.